A year, 3 months, and 2 weeks. That's how long it's been since I moved full-time into my Honda Element. It cost me $170 and 18 days to build. And this is basically my very long procrastinated car conversion tour video. So let's go. Also, if you haven't noticed, we're in a place called Edge of the World today, and it's windy as hell here. So if the audio gets a bit windy, just bear with me, okay? Welcome to my bedroom for the past year. I don't usually bring people here on the first date, but I'll make an exception for you guys. You'll notice I went with the 2 shelves and bed in the middle build, which is not very popular amongst Honda Element owners. And I now understand why after a year. And I'll talk a bit more about that. But first, I'm gonna give you a short tour of kind of like the main areas. Anything I can't fit up there, I end up fitting down here. So let me show you this mess of a thing. This thing weighs 2 tons, by the way, but anything you can possibly dream of is down here. I'm gonna start digging into details in a second, but it really boils down to adventure stuff, practical stuff, food bin, dirty laundry, and then coffee. I really want to talk more later in this video about what I do actually travel with, because minimalism is a big passion of mine. And when I first moved into my car a year ago, frankly, I had no idea what I really needed. And I feel like now about 50% of what I started with has changed, and I really got it down to a T. So I want to talk about that. But first, let me show you a little bit of why I built my build the way I did. If you look at the exterior of my car, you're gonna notice that it is as plain as day. Unlike most Honda Elements where they buy mods and they do all these cool things to it, mine just looks like a plain regular Honda Element. And that's not a coincidence. It's because I prioritize stealth above literally anything else. This is a stealth build. I did van life for a year about 10 years ago with my best friend. We did Montreal to Alaska, down to Mexico, and then back. And we've gone to knock so many freaking times. I built this and I thought, I just don't want to wake up to this stupid noise at 3 in the morning and have to find a new campsite. So that's why a lot of it is plain. But that being said, and that being out of the way, let me move you into the back. All right, I'm coming in. So this is the bare minimum of what you need basically to live. I built both of my shelves basically with a big area and then a tiny little area and then a hidden area, which I'll show in a second. So the big area, on this side I keep 3 bins. This is my whatever bin, which I keep literally whatever, kind of like your drawer that has the screws and stuff. I guess I'll show a little quick clip of what I do keep in there. It is literally whatever to fix stuff and just kind of go through life. This here is where I keep like toothbrush, deodorant, colognes, all that good stuff, and it kind of moves around to wherever there's a spot at night. This is my water bins. Usually I travel with about 8 of these, which gives you 12 liters of water. And the reason I travel with these, it's also for stealth reason. I refill these bottles at the gym when I go to Planet Fitness, or if you go to the library or wherever it is you're going. It's a lot more inconspicuous, inconspicuous, something like that, to just bring a 1.5 liter bottle versus bringing one of these good old jugs. You look like you live in your car if you bring this to the library or the gym. This, you look like you're just working out. So if you're like me though and you look like a bum anyway, it doesn't matter, they know. And then this last bin here, which is currently empty because I've been up here for 5 days. Obviously you guys figure why I've been up here for 5 days, but this is where I keep like cheese, eggs, anything that's kind of refrigerated. I don't have a fridge. I just don't really have the space for a fridge. When I first traveled, I had like a little bag where I could put ice and stuff. Ice is just an extra expense, and quite frankly, when you're on the road, you're always close to a grocery store, and whatever is keep refrigerated, you'll be good for 2-3 days, honestly, without having it refrigerated. Just don't make the mistake I made once and buy like yogurt and then not throw it out, and then buy another thing of yogurt and eat the old one and get sick. I've been sick as a dog from food poisoning, so that was pretty crap. But if you don't do that, it works. And then that bottom section here of this shelf is where I keep all my books. So I'm currently reading the Eragon series. I'm on the 3rd book, Brisinger. I just finished Eldest, the 2nd book. I read this guy in a lot of hot spring, which is why it's in such bad shape. And the reason I keep them when I'm finished, like this one, is that this is now my new fire starter. so I can just use it to start my fires. Also, I read this quickly last month. Somebody has recommended this to me. Did you think I was just too happy and I needed to be depressed? Dude, 1,000 Splendid Sun, do not read this. It's just depressing. It's a trash book. I should also mention I keep this guy here, Les Miserables, which is actually not a real book. It is my safe, aka passport type of thing. You do want to keep that in here. And in this lifestyle, you end up hiking a lot and you end up getting broken into sometimes. So make sure you have a spot to put like cash, passport, stuff that you really can't afford getting stolen. For me, that's the book. So then moving on to this shelf is actually what's changed the most since I first started traveling. When I did first travel, I used to have like high-tech stuff. First of all, the power bank was there, and then I had a $600 Sonos speaker, and then a dual fan, and then a space heater, low wattage, and the coffee machine. The coffee machine is still there for solid reasons. Oh, dude, I love coffee so much. Basically, a lot of this wasn't needed. I got rid of them, and now I have an extra bin temporarily in there until I figure something out. The power bank, I won't get into details. You guys have probably heard of this a million times, especially because they sponsor so many van lifers. But the size AC180 has been absolutely amazing. This is the amount of power in there. And I've been off grid now for what, 5 days? And it's at 8%. And I've been using it a ton. So usually those will last me a week. And if you're a Honda Element owner, you have a voltage thing here that you can basically just plug into here when you drive, and I'll give you about 5% of charge every single hour you drive. You can also see this is my new lighting system. It's changed a lot. I used to have tons and tons of light twinkling. I'll see if I can find footage of that. But it used to get ripped off every time I would come in. So now this is what we're dealing with. And then this bin here has been pretty much all of my electronics for the last little bit, and I'll show you what I travel with as far as electronics. I travel with a lot of GoPro stuff. That's what I've been filming mostly my survival stuff in. I bought the content creator mod, so hopefully it's a bit better with the mic. I don't know, really. I feel like it's been better. I don't know, you guys are the one that watches. I have more GoPro battery. A power bank, at least 20,000 amp is what you need, frankly, if you do this kind of life. It'll let you go and backpack and basically give you about 3 to 4 charges on your phone if your power bank ever dies. A hard drive, so I can put some photos and stuff on there. A backup phone. Seriously, if you break your phone, you need to have a backup. Since my phone is currently still working, what I do is I take the whole storage of this. I download like movies and shows and whatever. And then when I go off grid, then I just have something when there's no signal to watch, at least. A whole lot of this is just tangled cables, smartwatch, radio. And then the last thing is a full-on gaming setup that I travel with. I have a Series 2 Elite controller, a SteelSeries headset, and I also travel with this 18-inch Asus ROG Strix Scar 2, which has a 4070 in there GPU and a CPU i9 13 Gen. Which is crazy how much of a virgin I sound like right now. But that paired with the power bank will give me about 6 hours of AAA gaming. I get that gaming is a bit of a weird thing in this lifestyle because you're supposed to adventure and travel. And that's what I do, but also socially, I like to have a night with my boys, like my friend from back home, and have like social interactions with somebody that I've known for more than 2 days. So that is the main reason why I do travel with a gaming setup. Now moving on to the sides, we have the coffee machine, which has been sticking around with me. This is not any coffee machine. I bought it specifically on Amazon because it only uses 300 watt of power, meaning I could get a cup of coffee in the middle of winter for less than 2% of my power bank, which to me is a great deal. This door here is a bit of a waste of space at the moment. I'm only keeping toques and beanies. For some reason, I have about 7 or 8 of them. I don't think I need that many, but whatever. And then this bin here, I have the exact same bin on the other side. This one keeps my socks, and then the one on the other side is for my boxers. And then I have half of my storage for clothes that basically gets jammed way down here. Lovely, all dusty now. You don't get to see my clothes from inside because of how thick my mattress is, which is kind of nice. And then down here I have coats and then winter stuff, aka winter jackets, winter pants, baklava or whatever it's called. I don't think it's called baklava, but something that sounds like that. Mittens, gloves, scarf, more gloves. Basically anything winter related, I just jam in there. One of the biggest sacrifices I've had to do to keep my build stealth has been the seasonal stuff and the storage for the seasonal stuff. Most people that will live in a car will have roof racks, and then they have those bins that you see on top. Unfortunately, that is just a straight giveaway. If you're parked somewhere, it just screams, hey, I live in my car, come knock on my window. Same thing with stickers, by the way. Stop putting 500,000 stickers. Obviously, they know that you live in your car. As far as stickers go, if you want to stay stealth, I keep it to a maximum of 2. I have the bro sticker. I'm leaving it there just because the name of my Honda Element is bro. And then this sticker, I just move whenever I feel like moving it. It used to be a sticker called "It's trash can, not trash cannot." That changed to this one. It is what it is. And since I'm filming this video, I've been procrastinating to put on a new stickers I bought, so. That is a whole lot more to vibe these days. Anyway, you guys get the idea. If you don't want to get the knock, don't overdo it with the stickers. Anyway, back to our regular programming. Down here is where I keep my gym bag. Oh, and hell yeah, a beer apparently. Cheers, fellas. Moving to the driver's side. The sun is gone, by the way, so don't mind if I do. This is empty right now, but it's usually where I keep my trash. This is where I keep my wipes, toilet paper usually. I mean, I guess it's a good reminder. And then I've got basically all my survival stuff way down here. So winter boots, a hatchet, one of those foldable metal shovel. I keep a bow saw. I mean, if you've watched the videos before on my channel, you know I've been doing survival stuff. I also keep, let me see if I can. I'm a big hunter, so I do keep a little 22 down in here, mostly for grouse, hare, stuff like that when it's hunting season. I also keep down here a fishing rod, big passion of mine. It's one of the beauty of this lifestyle is you end up at campsites with absolutely amazing lakes, and then you can spend an hour or two just having a beer, catching a fish, cooking it on the fire, and life is good. Actually, it doesn't get much better than that if I'm honest. Then I have a few more things, aka a machete. You never know when you need to clear a trail. Now, you might have noticed by now that this thing here moves. And one of the main questions I do get is how do I live in a Honda Element as a 6'2" guy? Most people you'll meet that lives in Honda Elements are like 5'4", 5'5". This is how I've built it so I can actually sleep properly. So if I do move the seat forward, this falls. You can see the hinges here. I have 2 per halves. And then you'll see this thing here is something I bought on Amazon for like $30. It came in pair. And that locks in place. And that comes down. So when I do both, there you go. You've got couch mode basically. And then when I'm done hanging out at night, all I do is I pull the lever here and it falls all the way down. And then you have a bed good for up to 6'7", which is pretty good, and I've been very, very comfy in it. So also you might have noticed this thing at the bottom. This is part of my window covers basically. When you unroll it, half of it is pitch black, and then the other half, the one that I can see from the interior, is some palm trees because I like a beach vibe at night apparently. So then instead of putting window covers for my 2 front windows and then the windshield, all I do is I put up the curtain, I jam it on the side, and that's what it looks like. The main reason I decided to do this curtain instead of having more window covers is just that at night if somebody passes by, it still looks like nobody spends the night in it because you see the passenger and the front seat and everything, and it doesn't look like foiled up, if that makes sense. Speaking of window covers, let me make you guys laugh. So you know how I said it cost me $170 to build the entirety of this thing? It gets even better. It's $170 Canadian, so it's actually probably 130, 140 US. And a third of that went towards my window covers. So this is why it's funny, is because they're trash. I thought it'd be a good idea to not only have the foil, but do it 2 colors so that on the outside it would be black and then the interior it would be a light beige, which kind of fit the beige vibes. Now, if you speak with anybody who lives in their car, they will tell you that putting them up and putting them down, window covers, is the worst part of their day. And it's pretty true because everybody's window cover sucks. Everybody hates it. I thought I could be the one guy on earth that wouldn't have issues with his window covers, but I actually have the worst window covers ever. I got this material here, which is a type of rubber that isn't reflective. So if somebody drives by your car or the cops drive by your car, it doesn't reflect any kind of light, which keeps it very stealth, which is a good idea. Turns out they are way too heavy and they keep falling down, and it was an absolute failure, and I absolutely need to redo my window covers. The good news is that at least there's still beige on the interior, so I don't feel like I'm inside a spaceship at night, which is kind of nice. So that's pretty much it for the top of my build. If you're wondering about it a little bit, there's obviously some decoration, some fat cats. And then this here is my mother, because she always wanted to travel and she always said she was gonna travel through us because she didn't get to. And now she wakes up with my view every morning. And the sun is back. Now, let me show you what's inside of my crate, which is basically my entire life down here. I've always been super passionate about minimalism. I lived off a 38-liter backpack for 2.5 years. And moving into a Honda Element was kind of like a different challenge. I thought I knew what I needed to live on the road. Turns out, a year and 3 months later, about 50% of what I started with has completely changed, and I had to add a bunch of stuff. So let me kind of run you through what is in here. First of all, we got the dry food crate, which is obviously needed. Put a little footage of what's in there. There's a reason they call them granolas. You can have this view for 5 days, but that means if you don't have a fridge, you do have to eat a lot of canned goods and a lot of granola. So, also these freaking cup noodles thing. I was craving a single one the other day. I was at Costco, so I bought a pack of 24. So my dumbass had to eat these for like 2 weeks now. I cannot stand them anymore. This is usually my dirty laundry bin. Currently, I have no dirty laundry, aka I have fresh towels in there and laundry detergent. This here is my coffee setup. This is actually how I make coffee most days. The coffee machine inside the car is for it's when like freezing and I don't feel like going out and I don't feel like taking the propane out. But a percolator will make delicious coffee. I obviously have a lot of propanes. I have this thing, which used to be a French press, but I use it as a pot now because it fits the propane perfectly. Coffee. This is my stove, and I think a lot of people would think this is a bit too simple for a year full-time. Frankly, not had a single issue. And then this is my Tim Hortons mug, because I'm Canadian, and I think it's really, really funny when I go to Dunkin' Donuts, and I'm like, hey, can you refill my mug? And I give him a Tim Hortons mug. I know it's not that funny. I find it funny, so whatever. Now let me just kind of speed run this one, because I don't want to go through everything, but I have a mini chainsaw, which has been great. For example, I couldn't have gone here without it because I had to cut down a tree. I have a bottle of scotch, more propane. In here is a water filter that was gifted to me, and it's been absolutely amazing to filter water when you're off grid for a while. I have a tire pressure thing and booster. This here is a stove in case I run out of propane. This here is tire chains, which are currently installed on the car. I also keep a lightweight backpack. This is Osprey EXO, which I cannot say enough good things about it, but if you go for a few days, it's been great. I have snowshoes. I have one of those retractable shovel. I also keep an axe around. Fiskar has been a really dope axe for me. When you live on the road, you obviously have a ton of campfire nights, and having the chainsaw and the axe has saved me so much money splitting and cutting my own wood. It's actually unbelievable. This back here under these 2 foldable buckets, I have everything that's like seasonal or that I don't use. For example, how often do I use a vintage Browns mug? Never. Or like swimming suits and stuff like that. And then this is my pharmacy, pills, meds, bunch of random stuff. You can rewind if you want to see what's in there. Flex Seal for some reason, fishing line, mosquito spray, cologne, toys, flat tires, some tools. And then I have those grips if you ever want to camp on the beach. You can just put those if you get stuck and you'll be white out. Now, one thing I haven't really talked about is my heating system, which I don't have. If you've noticed, I don't really have a diesel heater. We're currently in the middle of Arizona, and that's a bit of an exception. I spend most of my winter either northern US or Canada. Even without a heating system, my setup is good for up to -35°C, which is about the same in Fahrenheit. I think the coldest I actually did spend in here was -31°C about a year ago. And I was frankly really cozy. And let me show you why. So this blanket here is basically to keep it looking neat instead of looking like this. And then this blanket is just for the beach vibe. It literally is just a tissue. And then this is how you keep really warm. So I have a -35 sleeping bag. It has this like fleece flannel inside. It's so insanely comfy. When I first bought it, I actually had a full bed and a full house. And I still decided to sleep inside the sleeping bag because it's just how comfy that thing is. And if you do end up living in your car, make sure you get a good sleeping bag. It will literally be a game changer, and it gives you freedom as far as where you want to stay. Make sure you also get a lining that comes off so you can bring it and just wash that into the laundry. And then the other thing, since we're talking about bedding, this mattress is one of the pieces that I had a really hard time finding for my build. Because I didn't want foam. Everybody gets foam because you can kind of cut it in pieces. The problem with foam is, first of all, it's not comfy. Second, it freezes. When you're in -30, the thing just becomes like a brick. But this one here is a very specific mattress that IKEA once sold. And it is actually spring-loaded, which is really comfy. But it's not just a normal single mattress. It comes in 3 pieces. So the main majority of it is spring-loaded. And then the other 2 parts of the mattress are basically just foam, and they're like those foldable parts here, which kind of come off. And the reason I wanted this one so specifically is that if I had a regular mattress, this whole setup of going up and down wouldn't work. But because this is in 3 parts, it works. Now, going back on how I built this whole thing for $170, which is incredibly low because it's Canadian, so it's really 130 US. And if you take the window covers off, it's actually less than $100 that I built this entire thing out of. First, I did the whole thing myself. It took me 18 days of straight labor. The main cost of any build is the amount of wood you're gonna use for them. And all of this wood, I actually ended up getting for free out of premium pallets, but free actually was a lot of elbow grease. Looking back, it wasn't really worth to get the wood from pallets just because they were really good pallets with good wood, but I had to take all the nails out myself. I had to use wood filler, I had to sand them down. And unfortunately, if you look closely, you'll see that this wood is 3/4 inch, which really is too heavy. I would have needed about a 1/2 inch to kind of save on gas. And what I didn't pay on the pallet and actually ended up working a lot for, I probably ended up paying on gas price, just like kind of carrying the wood around. That being said, you'll see that there's some damage, and that's because I crashed a Honda Element a year ago on the highway going 70 miles an hour. So I guess in a way, the fact that it was built sturdy kind of saved my life a little bit, because that whole thing would have just flown around if it wasn't super sturdy. But still, it's way too much weight. My suspension feels it. I feel it in gas consumption. So if you do want to build your own, definitely go for 1/2 inch. Leave the 3/4 inch out. Now, don't get me wrong. I love this build. It's been great. It's everything I needed. But after a year, the reason I'm making this video is that there's just been so many cons that I found and things I want to optimize. And I think that's just part of van lifing, is you always want to upgrade. And I think I'm at that point. And the one and main thing I want to upgrade is actually the headspace. I know I'm 6'2", and I know like I won't have that much regardless, but I build the box way too high considering I have like a spring mattress and a really heavy sleeping bag. It's not enough space to hang out at night when it's winter and it gets dark at 4 p.m. Now, as far as would I move into a Honda Element, specifically a Honda Element again? Absolutely. I freaking love the Honda Element. It's been nothing but a good time. I've had no issue except for like natural issues. Obviously it has its quirk. 2 issues that I would say aren't perfect for me is how low it is. I would have loved a high clearance vehicle. It's a all-wheel drive, so obviously I go off-roading every other day, and the bottom of my car does look hail damaged because I hit so many rocks with it. And then the other thing is that the real-time all-wheel drive sucks. Let me turn it off. I got stuck in a river for 6 days this year because I couldn't turn it off and the all-wheel drive was just kind of screwing me. So I will say, apart from these two big things, everything else has been nothing but a delight. So long live the Honda Element.
Okay, for some weird reason, it is starting to snow out of freaking nowhere. It was like a nice sunny day, and then this thing came out.
All right, well, the snow just finally finished, and as you can tell, it's already sunset, so it would be blasphemy to film during a sunset like this. I guess there's a bunch left to be said, but it'll have to remain unsaid. If you have any question, you can leave it in the comment if you really do care to know the answer. But on this note, I will be enjoying the sunset. Peace.